Since the elections took place earlier in the year, there has been a plethora of cases littering the courts around Nigeria. There have been cases of senators that have lost their seats after cases were decided against them in various courts around the country. In Plateau State, the People's Democratic Party, PDP Governors Forum, has expressed shock over what it described as deliberate targeting of the party's elected officials in the state, using pre-election cases against the prescription of the Supreme Court. Joining us today on the Morning Show to discuss the multiple rulings in Plateau State is Kalu, a lawyer. Welcome to the Morning Show.
Thank you so much,
Well,
Mr. Batty.
Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Well, what do you think of this allegation by the PDP Governors Forum in Plateau State, alleging that its elected representatives are being unfairly targeted? I recall that we had on this show the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Simon Nwagdom, and the basis of the ruling in his own particular case by the tribunal and the Court of Appeal, is that the PDP in Plateau State have been ordered by a high court to organize state congress, and that what brought Senator Nwagdom, to the Senate was a flawed process, and hence the tribunal ordered a rerun within 90 days. That's at least one example. There are other examples which you will know very well. So what is this controversy about? These are pre-election cases. PDP has been unfairly targeted in Plateau State. Is there merit to that claim?
Mr. Batty, let's even start the narrative from this perspective. When did disobedience to court order become a disqualifying factor as provided in the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? The Constitution is very, very clear as to the disqualifying factors against any candidate of any political party. And disobedience to court order is not part of it. Not part of it. Section 66 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is very clear. It itemized all the disqualifying factors. And disobedience to court order is never one of them. That aside, our worry is, how can one panel, an election appeal panel, in one breath hold that PDP's election is hereby nullified and ordered a rerun because APC came third in that election? That is a Plateau North senatorial district election. In another breath, the court held in Jos North Basa Federal Constituency that PDP's election was nullified and then ordered for a rerun because APC came third, the same panel. Then in Shendam, Kwampang, Mikang Federal Constituency, PDP came first and APC came second. The court notified the election of the PDP and ordered INEC to withdraw the certificate of return issued to PDP candidates and ordered INEC to issue a fresh certificate of return to the candidate of APC that came second. The same panel. In one breath, rerun. In another breath, order for issuance of a certificate of return. Do you now ask yourself, what is wrong? What is wrong? That is another breath. Mr. Batty, there are authorities by the Apex Court that issues of nomination are internal affairs of the political party. and that our courts do not have any business whatsoever to interfere in the internal affairs of a political party, which is what this matter is all about. Why wouldn't our courts decline jurisdiction on matters of internal affairs of the party? And today, the judiciary has found itself in another scandal. An ordinary man in the streets who does not understand the legal matters will not understand what is happening. That is why our forefathers who started this profession said that justice should not only be done, but must be seen to have been done. And in this matter, has justice been seen to have been done? And the answer is no. And when an ordinary man in the streets cannot have confidence again in the judiciary, what do you think will be the resultant effect? Anarchy. And that is why we are shouting day in, day out that the judiciary should cleanse itself from all these conflicting judgments here and there, so that people will have confidence in it. That is just the basis of this conversation, Mr. Bati.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Mr. Agu, with regards to the judiciary. All eyes on the judiciary, as was popularly bandied around a few weeks and months ago. And the conversation is perhaps not just in Plateau State, but generally looking at the structure and integrity of the institution that is the judiciary. With all due respect, we've had conversations about this in the last few weeks, and I'd like to get your thoughts on reform, where the same matter is judged differently in a different jurisdiction or court, and a different outcome is had. How do we unify these judgments? I mean, the PDP governors, the PDP stakeholders had cited the ruling of the Supreme Court in terms of pre-election matters and its place in judging appeals, petitions, in election petitions. How do we then how do we unify this? And then is the PDP also approaching the NJC as well with regards to this request to disband the current sitting judges?
Well, the problem we are having at the moment is if PDP is asking for the disbandment of the appeal panel on these appeals before them, it may not really augur well for them, because the court has only 60 days to hear and determine all the appeals before it. And I know that the 60 days is almost spent. So it may not really be a good approach. But the best approach should be that the judiciary should do something about this. PDP, from their press statement, has called the NJC to intervene. That is the best approach. Let NJC intervene in this matter so that the people will have confidence in the judiciary. NJC is the supervisory body on all the judicial officers in this country. And if they have noticed that there are conflicting judgments on the same fact, on the same law, by the same panel, then something is wrong somewhere. Not too long ago, we had the issue of Justice Salami. How Justice Salami was slamming on PDP, on PDP governors and all that in the West. And now PDP is saying that they have been remembered again in Jos. So we are calling on judiciary to have overhaul of the system, that the people have lost confidence in the judiciary. If you move to the street of Nigeria and ask Nigeria what they feel about the judiciary, you'll be shocked what you will get from the street. And these are people we are taming. Don't take laws into your hand. Approach the court for resolution of any grievance you have. And now they approach the court, and the court is disappointing them. Meanwhile, this is a very special issue. Mandate given by the people to the representative. And you are not taking it away from the mandate the people had freely expressed through misapplication of the law, and you now want the people not to take the law by themselves.
Okay, Mr. Agu, let's let me try and get an understanding, because I know that there are people like myself who are not lawyers who have a lot of questions. So the first thing will be for me and those of us who are not lawyers, can you help us understand? When we say that there is confusion in the rulings of the appeal court, the election court in Plateau State, for example, do you have 2-3 examples that you want to give? Because from the PDP perspective, they mentioned in some cases you have ruling that indicate that when PDP comes third, then they will say give the ticket or give the certificate to APC that came second. But when PDP is second and APC comes third, they will say go and have a rerun, meaning that is giving an opportunity for APC to win the election. Do you have some specific examples, maybe 1 or 2 that you can give us very quickly? Then I'll follow on with one more question.
I had already mentioned them. In a Plateau North, PDP came first, APC came third, and the appeal court nullified the election of Senator Simeon on grounds of disobedience to court order, and ordered for a rerun. In Jos North Basa Federal Constituency, PDP came first and APC came third, and the court nullified the election of PDP and ordered for a rerun. In Shendam Kwampan Mikang Federal Constituency, PDP came first and APC came second. The court nullified the election of PDP and declared the candidate of APC as the winner of the election without ordering for a rerun.
Okay. All right. So
it's very clear.
Okay. So on that basis.
By an ordinary man in the streets.
Okay. So on that basis then, when you have this kind of inconsistency, would you say that it is in the place of PDP to ask for the disbandment of the election petition tribunal, or who should look at this and say this is what needs to be done? Should it be PDP, or should it be who else should be doing this?
PDP is the party that was affected in all the judgments of the Court of Appeal in respect of all the elections in Plateau State. So they are the best party that will complain. Who else will complain? When there are allegations of compromise by the judiciary. Well, so who will complain? Well, it's the affected party that will complain, and PDP is the affected party.
Well, Kalu,
and their complaint is in order.
Well, Kalu, when we had Senator Welcome here, the Senate minority leader, he made the point that, yes, exactly the same point that you have made, that the courts are not supposed to inquire into pre-election matters. And he cited the Kashim Shettima case as decided by the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, further upheld by the Supreme Court. Some other people may also say they want to quote the example of, well, not yet, elected, but a candidate, that's Chief Timmy Receiver, who was on this program yesterday. And the major point there is the second point, which both you and Senator Wakoma pointed out, that look, a member of another political party cannot come and raise questions about a primary in which he or she was not a participant. But I ask you the question. If you look at all the cases in Plateau which affect PDP, the tribunal was consistent in saying that there was no party structure. And what that means is that you can't just become a candidate for your party and win an election without your political party having a structure on the ground. Two members, including, I think, the Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly and another member, I think Moses Sule and someone else, they were also similarly, removed, upturned, their election upturned. Do you think that the affected candidates can go to the Court of Appeal and argue successfully that something can stand on something in law?
Mr. Batty, the law is very clear on issue of who conducts primary election of a political party across the federation. It is the national executive body of the party that conducts election, that conducts primary elections for political parties. There are plethora of authorities on that. State executive of the party does not have the virus to conduct any primary election of the political party. Go through the constitutions of all the political parties in Nigeria. You will never see anywhere where the constitution donates any power to any state executive committee of the party to conduct primary election of the party. It's just that the judiciary has left their role and start to poke nose into the affairs of a political party. They don't have any business whatsoever to go into the affairs of a political party. It is the National Executive Committee of the party that has the right, that has the power, donated to it by the constitution of the party, and even by the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to organize primaries for all elective positions of their political party. And that is the law. Any other thing is not the law, Mr. Batty. That is not the law. And our worry is the justices of the Court of Appeal, they know this law. So why misapply it at the detriment of the people of Plateau State? Why misapply it? Because even in the presidential election petition court, on the issue of that P2P was not qualified to run the election, the court was very direct that is not the matter that the court should look into. It is an internal affair of the party. Issue of nomination is an internal affair of the party, and that is the law. Any other thing done is a misapplication of the law at the detriment of the people who gave their mandates to the representatives. And you now start somewhere, took it away from them, and you want them to be happy.
Well, Mr. Agu, thanks a lot. I just wanted to center again on Senator Wanko because we had him on the show, and there were a few areas that we had asked him specifically where he showed confidence in his participation in the rerun that was called for by the Appeals Petitions Court. Just to clarify a few things, in the ruling, they had said that his emergence as candidate of the PDP in itself was flawed. Hence, one of the reasons why they had issued or ordered a rerun. And he was quite confident that with the rerun, he would still be eligible to participate. Would the issues still not remain the same? Just to clarify that, because we had, he was quite confident that he would rerun, he would be part of the rerun. But since his candidature was under question or said to not have been, followed due process, would he still be eligible to run? And then what happens to that PDP ticket in the event that he's not able to?
That particular judgment, with due respect, has to be reviewed. Because the court ordered for a run by all political parties. In one breath, you are disqualified. In another breath, all political parties should participate. Then in just not Basa Federal Constituency, the court was very direct.
Mr. Agu, who's going to review that judgment? And under this time frame, and so in terms of, I'm looking at this particular election cycle because he said he will participate. Who would review? How would he be still under the time limit? And then is there a possibility of him running again in this particular cycle? That is the crisis. That is the confusion the judiciary is throwing this nation into. How can you one panel? In Plateau, not a senatorial constituency, it nullified the election of Senator Simeon and ordered for a rerun by all political parties. Read that judgment very well. Then in just not Basa Federal constituency, it nullified the election of PDP and ordered a rerun, but excluding PDP from that election. Are you not seeing contradictions in the two judgments? One direct, one with load of confusion. That is why I said that particular judgment must be reviewed, so that we really know what the court really meant by that will be a rerun by all the political parties. In one breath, you notify the election based on the fact that the candidate was not qualified. Then in another breath, that will be a rerun by all the political parties. There is a confusion in that judgment. So the affected person will say, by this decision, I'm accommodated. So why will you exclude him when the court that nullified the election did not exclude him?
Okay, we'll have to wrap up in just a matter of seconds now. But let me ask you then, if this case can still go to the Court of Appeal, what do you think are the chances that the Court of Appeal will do the right thing? And if you don't have any trust in Court of Appeal to do this, what will be your final word in terms of what we have to do about our judicial system in Nigeria? A lot of people have called for reform, but what will be your recommendation?
PDP has taken up this matter and has called NJC to intervene in this matter so that there will not be a breakdown of law and order in Plateau State and probably other states of the Federation. And I know NJC will intervene in this matter. Let's see what NJC will do first before we know the next line of action to take.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being with us today, Mr. Agu.
Well, just to make the point, Agu, that some of the cases you have cited and the precedents that have been cited, the details may not necessarily be the same as what you have in Plateau State. It's true there are decided cases about ousting or judicialization of the courts, but the details, having not read the judgment, there are other details that perhaps you may not have paid attention to. But when the matters manage to get to the Court of Appeal, we'll see what the review will reveal. Thank you very much, Kalu Agu, for joining us on the morning show.
Mr. Batty.
Yeah, briefly, please. Yeah.
Mr. Batty, may I know... Hello?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. You said, can you be specific so that we can clear this issue? That the facts in Plateau, in the matters in Plateau State are different from other authorities we cited. Well, so can you be specific on those facts so that we clear this issue for Nigerians?
No, I've not read, the CTC of the specific rulings in the various cases. I'm just raising that as a poser so that it doesn't look like there is one side to it, from your side. But when it gets to the Court of Appeal, which is the appropriate place, and we hope that all the affected parties from the PDP will go there, then we'll be back here with you to review the outcome. Because council cannot decide.
The decision we discussed now.
Yes.
The decisions that is the subject of our discussion today are decisions by the Court of Appeal.
Okay, we'll see.
By the Court of Appeal.
Every case will be determined on its own merit. We'll see. You've stated the principles. Let's see how it is tested again by the Court of Appeal. Okay? Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be here by God's grace.